Welcome back to Vidanta Disc Golf. This thing is massive right now because it broke today, so it's just kind of sticking up out of my bag. I had another practice round today. I'd say another, but it's because I had one yesterday. The practice round videos are going to go live tomorrow, one on my channel, one on another channel, which is really exciting. And I am very nervous for this tournament that's coming up because today I played so bad. Now, a reason for that, and you can count it as an excuse, I don't really care what you do with it, but really got bad sleep last night because my wife left very early today on a road trip and I went to bed late. So my sleep was really atrocious, but the other thing that was atrocious was a lot of my footing on a lot of holes and upshots because of that, especially standstill upshots. And one of my patrons had actually requested an upshot video. So today I really want to take like a 20-30 minute session and dial in my upshots, and to make sure that because I've already played 2 rounds today, my arm is definitely feeling it. I'm gonna rest it tonight, make sure I eat plenty of protein, drink more water than I ever know what to do with. That also means that I'm gonna be a little bit less on the forehands that I throw, but I wanna practice a couple things with upshots and share with you guys how I approach upshots, because they used to be a really good part of my game, and then I just worked on form this off season, and my putting and my upshots have gone a little bit to the wayside. They're not bad, I don't think. Well, they're not good. But one thing in order to mitigate and make sure that I don't actually throw too many discs is the fact that I'm not taking out my fieldwork bags. I'm only taking my bag that I'm playing with this week. And this is something that I would recommend that you potentially do if you're gonna be practicing these same things, especially before a tournament, because these are the discs that I wanna get comfortable with. These specific discs that are in my bag right now. Real quick first though, in case you didn't watch my in the bag, that's a little bit zoomed in. These are the discs, basically the only discs I'm gonna be doing upshots. A Retro Pure, which is slightly beat in, a slightly beat in Electron Soft Envy, 2 different zones, a Premium Envy, and a Clips one. I actually lost another one today. I'm kind of the dumbest shots ever, but you guys will see that in the videos tomorrow. An Origin, Pathfinder, Ultra, maybe Zone OS, and Glitch, but these are kind of in the side pocket because I might not be using them too much. But because these are all the discs that I'm trying to learn with, and because I'm not trying to do this, which you'll see in tomorrow's video. Oh my God. Oh, super embarrassing. We're gonna range out from 80 feet and actually jump putt up to my bag, then go to 100 feet, 125, 150, 175, 200, and then we'll go 250, 300, 350, and really try to dial in at least within circle 1. Anything in circle 2 means we're gonna be redoing that upshot drill, and we're gonna be doing it with all of these discs, at least the ones that are most appropriate. So let's get started at 80 feet, and there is a big thing coming this way. It is going to eat me. That is not something that I want to run over my bag or my camera. There are some things that I'm going to share with you about what I do with upshots, but I don't want to speak out of turn or out of pocket, and want to make sure that everything I'm sharing with you is like stuff I actually do. So I'm gonna do the upshot. We'll talk about kind of the things that I'm learning and is making it easier for me to get it close to my bag, which we're gonna call the basket in this case. Anything outside of 10 feet outside the bullseye, anything outside of 33 feet, terrible shot. All right, we're right at 80 feet here. I'm gonna leave the rangefinder. And this is a distance that should be pretty simple to get up and down. We're gonna focus before the jump putts on just really simple upshots, where I'm honestly gonna wanna put this very slow, slight anhyzer down so it lays flat there. And I'm practicing all these basically today standstill up until about 300 and 350, maybe some 300 standstills, because some of the footing at this course is kind of atrocious. Really good. And a little jump putt or step putt. This spread is like 5 feet, and this is what I need from 80 feet. But the thing that I really focused on here is a very slight weight shift where I kind of rock back, come forward, and as I come forward, I'm putting my weight into it, but making sure that I keep facing this way and just focus on throwing it out, especially on the anhyzer, and really slow and spinny. So focus on throwing it spinny. Everything is a power grip for me, even back here. I just will mid-load it, meaning that this is really where the pressure is instead of on the front, because this pivot grip is a lot harder to actually get like control over. But mid-loading it is closer to a fan grip because it's really just these middle things that are holding on to it, and then just kind of shifting out. And instead of coming kind of back behind you and fully coiling, there's a little baby coil and throwing out. Personally, I don't do best right now at staying looking at the target and throwing it to it. And because of that, I'm gonna play to my strengths now. That's something I'll probably work on slightly, but not implement into my game until I'm very confident in it. So I'm just practicing how I would in a tournament, and this is what we like to see. So we're gonna move back, and I am actually gonna throw my putting putters as well. We're gonna move back to 125 feet and focus again on a soft anhyzer up to the basket, and then we're gonna come back and actually throw the hyzer, and then the hyzer forehand and the anhyzer forehand. 120. Inside the circle. Not good though. Okay, I like that tight line with the zone. So interesting realization on those anhyzer throws is I really like that tight flex line with the zone from that distance. I can spin it hard with intention without really burning it over. And the 3 zones are right here. Everything is inside the circle. It's all 20 feet. I'm gonna make all these putts. But that's definitely a good realization for throwing those anhyzers, that unless I'm needing to throw around something on the other side and then can like let it pan to flat, if I'm wanting to kind of create a tight flex, I should throw to zone right now. And this isn't also a time when I'm preparing for a tournament that I'm really trying to focus on, okay, how do I get better at my anhyzer shot with my flippier discs? This is a time where I'm trying to figure out what is the best throw for my tournament. My tournament play can be different than a lot of other people's tournament plays, but let's get into the hyzers from this 125-foot distance, and hopefully it's a little easier. These hyzer shots from a standstill are very hard for me to get the height right. Honestly, I think this is a conjecture. I'm gonna try to focus on it. I have a very wide stance here, which I think gives me a good base. I'm gonna try to shorten that up a little bit, and I think that'll allow me to swing up a little bit more. So I'm gonna try that real fast. Pretty good. Make sure to swing it out a little wider. Aim with the hips, not with the throw. Same motion, just aim with the hips. Aiming a little bit more this way instead of straight out there. Aim a little bit more to the side. Look at that. You be a little smart, you do something good. Really happy with that. That zone OS really does not fly super different from a zone when you throw it this slow, which I had heard all the Discraft players, the Ezras, the Brody, Paul Macbeth, talk about how that was the case. I didn't believe it because I was trying to rip it every time, but it kind of is the case. This is actually a better spread than the anhyzer, but all my flippier discs are better at this. And I really noticed how tightening up that stance, because from my anhyzer I was throwing here, and maybe from here, I think honestly, because this is just testament to even my normal form where I'm a little too wide in my throw. Tighten this up because this rotation is so much easier, and I'm not like, this feels stuck. This feels like, oh, let me throw out a nice wide hyzer, and that's a little high. Really good, really happy with the spread. I'm gonna do a forehand from here and not from anywhere else, honestly, because of my arm right now. I'll probably practice this tomorrow after, but same principle. We're gonna do anhyzer, hyzer, and then we're just gonna go back to 175, 225, 300, 350. This is so helpful for my confidence right now, which is what I need for this tournament, man, because I have not been confident today, and this makes me very confidence induced, especially with how easy I'm throwing these and they're going where I want, because I've been forcing everything today. Okay, anhyzer forehands. One thing I'm really noticing right now is I'm releasing it at my side instead of at my front. I think part of that is I'm dropping my shoulder a little bit as I come through instead of keeping the shoulder high and letting it release forward. Just a thought for now, something I'll continue to work on, but we're gonna go into the hyzers. This is a good spread. I'm really happy with this spread, honestly. We're getting dialed from 125. My zones and my zone S are the closest, which hopefully makes sense. Now we're gonna go for that hyzer. Ooh, I also noticed something about the stance. A lot of my forehands, I try to release like this and come through. These ones, I put this a little bit outside. And I feel like that gives me a little bit better of a base to throw forward when I'm not stepping through my forehand or trying to throw really hard. Don't know if that's anything. That's what I noticed though. All right, same stance, but honestly a little wider. If you notice, you might hear a lot of other people talking about nose up and nose down when they're talking about upshots. It's not something I'm really thinking about right now. I'm just thinking about how am I throwing it. A lot of it is causing it to become nose up, but this spread, I'm very happy. Spike is good. All right, zone OS, this is what I'm interested about. So stable. I think we'll just do 200, 250, 300. I don't even know if we have 350 down this way. I'm just gonna kind of run through them a little bit. I don't think the principles will change much. The only thing I can think of is getting that smaller stance and realizing that might be really helpful for me to generate a lot more power before I throw through instead of this wide stance. Just not nearly as much potential power generation. I'm really, man, this really is, I'm so tired right now. But this is really helping my confidence for this tournament. Okay, pretty good. We got a bad lie, which is helpful. Pretty normal. Wow, this is kind of far for a standstill. That's why we practice. Doesn't have to be good. Just practice it. Pop the nose down, throw it a little bit right. A little close stance. Okay. Don't pop the nose down that much. Still got a circle putt, looks like. Maybe just outside. Much better. All right, this is where we're definitely starting to see the limitations of how I'm throwing these upshots. This is a much better spread than I expected, actually. When I threw all those, I'm gonna do one more round of these standstills, but only with this that I would throw from that distance. It's gonna be zones, pures, and basically all of them except for the Zone OS and the glitch. I do think for the flippier ones, I might focus a little bit more on, I'm really upright right now. And I think that's good for a lot of my shots, especially going flatter over the top. But I might focus on getting a little bit lower for these hyzers so I can hit the hyzer out and let it ride. Definitely realizing why I love this Ultra. I think we'll just do one more round at 250 because I'm getting tired and I don't want to tire myself out. It's not the point of practicing upshots at all, so. All right, that is a great play. Origin first. All of those discs that I threw on hyzer that were flippy, when I focused on, hey, get a little bit more of that hyzer tilt, parked. The Origin's a little far. These are a little long, but parked. Those are all basically parked. Also good to realize, Zone, kind of flat distance, 200 is about the edge of my range. Ultra didn't really throw it quite a lot harder. It's about 30 feet past, 20 feet past inside the circle still. Yeah, I definitely think at 250, I'm gonna bring an Envy and a Pure just to see what the distance like, 2 of each of those. And I'm actually gonna bring my fairway drivers and see what that looks like, and then 250 will be done. And I'll give you my final thoughts and then initial thoughts before the tournament, because I got 2 practice rounds in, 3 technically. It is, I don't know if it's looking good or not. I'm definitely nervous for the tournament, but it's doing things like this, which are very intentional practice towards my tournament, that will be very helpful to get me really confident about it. We're just gonna nail it down about 275 and start to feel good. All right, we're 260. All right, so Origin is pin high this side. Ultra, also good. Firebird, good. Zones, bad. Heats, both good. Very good. So, I think that makes it pretty obvious. Oh, Pathfinder, great. Pure's okay, but not good. That's pretty obvious. Outside of 250 feet, I would say probably about 240 and out, I should be throwing mid-ranges, 240, 270, maybe even fairways. From a standstill. If I get a little bit of a run up, things become a very different story. But from a standstill, relatively accurate with those discs when I thought about them a little bit more. I wasn't trying to be too fast, did have to throw them a little bit hard. And I think the flippier the disc, the better. So I'd probably rather throw the Origin hyzer tilted low to high, so it flips up to the right side and finishes. But I can also throw the flexes, I've also found today. So I have a lot of work left to do on circle 2s before the tournament. I'm gonna try to make about 100 to 200 of those putts before I get started. Just redial that in, because it has been very poor. If you guys have been watching a lot of my recent videos, I've not really made a lot of circle 2 putts, because that is a lot of strokes that can get made up, because this is a very long course. Putting it really close to the basket is definitely possible, but not necessarily what you're gonna be able to do on every single hole. Very surprised by my realization about the wider stance and how much that actually worked for me, because getting that little bit extra wider, where did the Origin go? Oh, on my knee. I'm so tired, guys. Because getting that extra little bit wider really makes that throw a little more closed off. Like, it's a lot harder to move the hips, whereas when I get a little closer, it's a lot easier. I mean, that's one of the things that, if you watched my video yesterday, I was saying my stride is a little too long still. And because of that, I'm not getting as much oomph and rotation before my pull through, and so trying to kind of slow it down and get it here, that's a lot more momentum into this front foot, a lot more of what I want. And shortening that up on a standstill from here, trying to throw that to here, gives me surprisingly more power, or less surprisingly that, but more surprisingly, actually a little bit more control too. If you're struggling with some part of your game, especially upshots, I would definitely recommend doing a strategy like this, where you come out with your bag of discs. Doesn't need to be anything that you don't bag, especially if it's before a tournament, and really just try to dial in your own bag, the things that you're actually throwing, because these are the discs that are gonna matter for the tournament. I have a bunch of practice discs that are Pures, that are Zones, that are Envies, all those. I have a bunch of them. Those aren't the discs I'm gonna be throwing in the tournament, even though they're the molds that I will be. So I'm not really throwing those backups. I really wanted to come out here and see, how do I manipulate each of these discs to get the flight that I wanted? And I feel much better about that now than I did when I was practicing earlier. And I think I'll be a lot more confident stepping up to those shots instead of questioning. Because every single shot today, I was questioning what was gonna happen. But you guys will see a lot of that practice round tomorrow. I'm really excited for you to see it. First practice round of the year. Kind of excited, kind of nervous, because my play was obviously not great, but a really cool guest and kind of another battle video that we made out of it. So subscribe if you wanna check that out. Otherwise, check out yesterday's video right down here about whether or not my form change worked. Spoiler alert, maybe. Otherwise, check out my in the bag right down there. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, love you guys, bye.